when I heard the theme, I thought of a friend of mine. It was actually my best friend from next door. He was shot, I think, when he was 21. He was in a wheelchair for about 8 years. And then he got sick. And then this one time, I was in Durban. I was studying in Durban. I came back home, and I heard that he was sick, so I went to visit him. And we were just talking there, and he was like, "I'm done." I was like, "What do you mean you're done?" He's like, "No, I'm tired, you know. I mean, this place that we live in, you know, I'm tired of being bound to this chair, you know, so I'm done, you know." I thought he was joking, or he was just saying that. The following morning, I heard that he was gone. So just one of the instances where people have literally given up on envisioning another world, another reality. And that's home for me, you know. So that's actually what inspired this next poem. It's called The Second Coming. At home, the stars seem closer because they are weighed down by the desperate wishes of 11-year-old soldiers. The shacks shelter prophets who read their dreams with lit candles. I saw a young girl who resembles the Greek god Atlas balance the fragile lives of her siblings on her shoulders. Those who caught their dreams are now being pursued by time. But to the few who've nursed their faith, time is but an envious ghost that watches from a distance and wonders how they escaped. See, I would offer her the sun, but the father says I have but a few moons to learn the language she smiles in. There are rumors that she holds a second sky behind her eyelids. We both want to turn our backs on this place and become fading silhouettes in the distant horizon. But the ash that is our flesh will one day meet with the dust from the kingdoms we built to mark time. I sent suicide notes to forever to let her know that I've stopped dying. It is my people. My people are caught in a daily and incessant routine where the end refuses to begin. Knowledge paints promises of power to frail fingers. The liquor drowns early memories of my late sister. The children with everything to live for are the only ones listening when these graves whisper. Death feeds the children of grave diggers. The scent of decay lingers, but it fails. It fails to reach the thieves chewing on our fathers' abandoned dreams for dinner. And so a few more young girls without answers choose to escape motherhood and bleed the prayers in their wombs. In the chapters of my childhood, we played hide and seek on the streets. And no one knew that we'd soon have to search for each other in hollow tombs. I scattered the remains of my innocence the day I found the skeletons of God in the closets of their holy temples. But the God within reaches for the child I have always been, with eternity perched at the tips of his fingers. And I awaken to watch those who once were only ascend to join the stars that bear the weight of our wishes. I wander through the labyrinth of shacks anchored on the hope of change and realize that this world has always built the biggest crosses to break the backs of a people born with the heart of God and to shatter their halos into a crown of thorns. But beneath these bridges slumbers homeless oracles, and these famished homes with their pillars crumbling are cradling and raising the wrath of a second coming. Thank you. So I'm a full-time poet, right? And I mean, I always fight with that with my mother. My mother doesn't approve of it whatsoever. She made that, but she made that clear. I mean, from the get-go, you know, that she doesn't understand it. She doesn't believe in it. She'll try to support me, but you know, she. But I still write poems for her, regardless. I wrote this poem for my mom and my grandmother. Okay. I was only a faint, desolate noise when she sung me into being. She was a mother who nursed songs under her wings. We grew strings instead of ribs. We grew voices that ignored the wind and only moved to the hymns within. She, the mother that no longer sings. She knows not that that spirit of warriors has been stripped from her kings. And so who will dare to tell her? Tell her that her sons are now servants who sweep the shards of their dreams off the streets to keep this concrete nightmare clean. We were born into these front lines where we mourned the death of sunrise for black suns that didn't rise at dawn. My mother says I could have been a simple man, sold my dreams for a piece of bread. But my children should know that these words are remnants of the soldier that I once was. I was only a faint whisper. She was my grandmother, whose wrinkles were prayers of forgiveness for sins that were not her own, who taught me that the path to our people's hearts should never be through the minds of men who live on knowledge alone. We were only young dreams. We were raised by islands, trying to become men and escape the tides of silence, tongue-tied with bullets in our throats. We learned how to choose our weapons carefully. But how do you arm your people when they've been taught that they are the targets? What sort of battle scars do you show to young children whose lungs won't let go of the stench of burning human flesh? And will we find lessons on justice to raise them when the law leaves them without fathers? We were only young dreams, trying to find the right words to climb out of these graves with no footsteps to trace, but intent on catching the dreams our fathers died chasing. Behind us, we left crumbling homes and only filled our backpacks with the memories of all the heartbeats we've seen breaking on these dusty roads, for nights when the city is louder than the songs we had hopes to be, when we can no longer find the poetry. Thank you. Envisioning another world. So I was still telling you about home. I wrote this poem for my sister. She passed away about 3 years ago. So when I was growing up, I'd always see, you almost get accustomed to, okay, you're male, so you're superior, and seeing somebody beat their wife or their sister or their girlfriend in the streets, that it's discipline, that's how some of us are taught. And my cousin is back at home now. She stays with us because, she was in hospital twice because of her husband, we always had to go to my cousin's place around like 1 in the morning, run there because her husband is back and she's beating on her and she's got 3 kids. So I saw that a lot with my sister, with my cousins, on my street, sometimes with my mother. So I wrote this poem. I couldn't find her. I only found pages from her diary. And this is when she stood in her hopes and dreams, with her arms stretched out and reaching, when she had wishes of telling the stars her secrets because tomorrow was the only God she believed in. I couldn't find her. I only found pages from her diary, scattered and soaked in pain, in a world where most men have touched her, but none of them know her name. And this is when her heartbeat was escaping her, when she was writing with a broken arm and her words could no longer follow the straight lines. The passion and flames died. These pages are graveyards. I couldn't find her. I only found pages from her diary, fragments of a story that has been told too many times. Thank you. So I created the character Conelius Jones. And that was part of envisioning another world by itself. I was tired of dwelling on the same issues, I needed an escape. So I was like, okay, I have a character, he's from the future, he's a time traveler. His name is Conelius Jones. So Conelius Jones, so I had a concept for a poem. It was going to be the last love poem I was going to write. So the concept was that Conelius Jones is a soldier and he's leaving his woman behind because of the war. And he has to explain to her that, you know, I'm a soldier and this is what I do, you know, so I wrote this poem. Dear Dad, I don't breathe when I'm with her, and yet she finds a way to read the dreams in my lungs. She's been filling my pores with droplets of heaven, and with every embrace she pours, she's in my skin. Words are only residues of souls who could once speak. Dear Dad, I don't speak when I'm with her. We've been creating a language with the sound hearts make when they forget how to beat. We've been leaving keys beneath each other's pillows that open rooms that we thought no heartbeat could ever reach. And in that silence, we even watch these moments crumble into memories and fall in the palms of time. I know we were never meant to stay, but she is the only one of her kind. Yes, I know it's about the objective. I know it's about the angels who missed their curfews, and that it's for cold hands who've been collecting sparks in hopes to one day have a complete star. And so men must carve their dreams into weapons. We refuse to waste another precious second, clench fists. Cradle also your children's gifts. The rain taught us how to fall so we can meet with the clouds again. This here is for freedom, and it's for truth. But now I just want to do it for the music composed by her eye blinks, for the truth in her silence. Now I want to lay this armor down and speak to her words so gentle that the wind wants to keep it. But I must speak for my people. I must breathe a pulse into the streets for the handcuffed arms of destiny that forgot how to reach. We must scribble their wishes into being with the language of shooting stars. We carry the secrets of a truth that was never born as birthmark. And so we must march. We must march until the sky learns how to kneel. But we were never meant to stay. Our heavy hearts sink in the quicksand of time, and the truth is now I just want to hold your hand until I can memorize your fingerprints. The truth is that I have never found beauty in sunsets until I watched you fall asleep. And I'm sure that dreams pinch themselves to make sure that you are real. And so now I just want to do it for you. When they come and they try to convince you that there's nothing special about you, I would love to shape these words into mirrors and let them speak of the magic on your arms where my struggles vanish. See, I found a home in the tranquil alleys between yours, but I cannot stay because we were never meant to stay. Thank you. Envisioning another world. So, like I said before, that I sort of got tired of dwelling on those circumstances, you know, dwelling on the bad things and all of those issues. So I thought that, you know, there should be more, you know, there must be more than just this. So I wrote this poem for myself and for anyone else who feels trapped and that, you know, there is nothing else but just that darkness and that circumstance. Travelers, dreamers, you have been here before with the songs of your fathers and the storms in your eyes as armor. You sought after the truth once, ready to strangle shadows until they handed you back your sons. Your young found secret paths between gravity's fingers. Your soldiers heard of God and the miracles from your speech. When did you allow those embers to sleep? See, at home, the streets raise prophets that cannot dream beyond those rusted fences or past the rain of ashes. Travelers, we can no longer hold barren souls where laughter barely grows, when once we shook stillness out of winds that forgot how to blow. So raise hymns from the dust. Raise the brightest suns from sparks. Hold up the history of the soil and raise your children, because they said that nothing grows here. They cannot muffle the infinite dreams that move you. You are dreamers. Thank you. So, my girlfriend decided to go to Zambia for a month, and that's home. Yeah, we were never meant to stay. Yeah, she's from Zambia, so she went to visit for about a month. Yeah, she went home. While she was gone, I wrote this. It's called While You Were Gone. While you were gone, the sun ceased believing in dawn. I tried to ignore how branches refrain from their ceremonial dances like you left with the wind. But I couldn't. I couldn't disregard the cries of my heart saying prayers to distance in the names of the countries between us. The pictures of you reflected your freckles as tiny infant stars that settled on your face. Like they didn't find heaven's pavements beautiful enough to raise them. But I could never understand how we could discover infinity, then lay it to die, lose angels to pride, trade in bliss for moments that almost resembled a lifetime. And so I promised myself that on your return, I would find a way to shackle the rest of my days around your ankles, and that I'd watch the seconds dangle right next to your soul, because while you were gone, those enchanting tales of fairies lost their magic. I sat chanting your name like a spell, hoping to rekindle their splendor, because once we were minors, digging for the treasures of manhood everywhere but within, would sing praise songs to the ones who could return with remnants of her innocence. But with you, I only need to prove that I can hold my breath like pillars when you need to find refuge on my chest. Prove that the promises won't come crumbling down. Because while you were gone, I wondered how long distance could keep those two feathers on a clock apart. But I stopped counting when I realized that time spoke of your return long before you did.